Good morning, everyone. Keep it down over there, Doug. We're trying a slightly different format tonight. Where we're going to try to bring in an advocacy, kind of a conversation on what we do as a board for advocacy. And instead of having a separate committee meeting, we're going to do a little bit of a review of kind of our goals for advocacy around what all the different organizations are doing, so that it actually gets officially entered in the minutes. Some of the programs are already available, and we'll review that shortly. But before we do that, we'll put out, are there any announcements? Anybody online?
I'm going to make him do it during his report.
Okay.
Not seeing any minutes were distributed. For these are from February?
Yeah, we didn't have quorum last month.
Okay, sorry, we need to approve those too, so.
I'll motion to approve the minutes from February.
Thank you, Carrie.
Second.
Doug, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Let's move to new business. RIBS program.
That's me. Uh-oh.
Probably just Doug's got another remote. He turned the TV off for fun.
It was a disgusting day.
Sorry, guys, online we lost you. Okay, so the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation is doing what they're calling the Rotating Integrated Basin Study, screening site selection. They're looking for our input on sampling locations to help generate useful and needed water quality data in our respective regions of the state. It focuses on monitoring surface water quality by collecting chemical, physical, and biological data in lakes, ponds, reservoirs, and wadable streams and rivers. And this year in our area, it's the Seneca, Oneida, Oswego River Basin. And so this screening program supports projects that would benefit from a single visit per site. The survey generates data that could be useful for some of the following purposes: follow-up monitoring from an ongoing project, identification of a potential area of concern, or a high-level characterization of a small watershed. So I met with the 9E committee, the Owasco Lake Watershed 9E committee, and suggested we look at Pine Hollow Creek where it crosses Route 90 in the town of Locke. This is next to the Buell landfill, which is located near the creek. It's an inactive solid waste landfill. It was found to be leaching into Pine Hollow Creek by the DEC in 1985. They did additional sampling in 87, 1990, 1992, and 2001, and it still exhibited landfill leachate chemical signature. The county sampled in 2001 and also found the same results. Bruce Natalie sent letters in 2003 requesting further investigation to the senators at the time. And I actually don't know what happened after that. I couldn't find any additional information. So I'm going to suggest they take a look at the site and see if there's anything that shows that leachate might still be going into Pine Hollow Creek. And the Cayuga Lake Watershed Intermunicipal Organization is meeting on Monday to discuss the same thing for Cayuga Lake Watershed.
Do you need action from this board?
I think it's more of just a FYI.
If that changes and you think you need.
I have to submit it by the 10th, so. I mean, if you want to do a.
Authorize a letter of support or an official.
We don't really need a letter of support because it's just like a form I have to fill out.
Okay, so not required to go.
Need to officially authorize you to fill out that form on.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, let's
If,
do that.
if you want to go.
Yeah,
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it. We're putting together a motion right now just to authorize Michelle to basically complete this application for the start of the process, or to get the process underway. Are there any questions about the motion? If If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No, thank you. So we're gonna talk just a little bit about advocacy and networking that we do for the board. This is not to, so I had an interesting conversation with a constituent a couple of weeks ago as we had a conversation about water quality. Happened to be in our office. They actually made a request to more understand what WQMA does. And so from an advocacy standpoint for the public, I just want to remind everybody that Michelle puts a tremendous amount of energy and time into the stuff that you provide her to put them out for newsletters. So please share those widely. As I look through one that I actually shared with this person who actually came into the office, it really does encapsulate the work that we do, the advocacy that we are doing for the community, which is not necessarily what this advocacy refers to, but it is a really great thing to share. And I think maybe if I'm forgetting to do it, maybe others are. I'm not suggesting maybe that's the case, but it really is a great tool that we're putting together with all this information. It encapsulates the work that all the different organizations and lake associations are doing. So thank you, Michelle, for putting those together, and really share those out because that single newsletter did probably a far better job of explaining what happens here than I can. And that's great because it really does reflect all the work that all the different agencies are doing. So that's just my kind of administrative note. If there's, if you distribute those widely, because if you get questions, there's great information in there. So just do that. As far as advocacy internally, like advocacy for the work that this board to continue to do, obviously we've been very successful in doing that in recent years because the organization continues to get funded. I mean, obviously that shows that we're all working toward a common goal from the county and the organizations that fund some of the programs that we're involved in. But I know that this group is attached to so many other groups, and I would just remind you that if you think there's someone that we should be out there talking to, new state, local organizations that are involved in water quality, they are coming up all the time. We have a number of great partners here, but include us. I mean, include me, include Michelle, include this board, because I think that we are fortunate to be in a time where water quality is top of mind for many, many people across our citizenry, across our industry, and across our government. And that probably hasn't been the case in the last 20 years. I think that there's lots of impacts to lots of people. So the advocacy that we do at the state and local level are critical and are important. Anybody who's familiar with the county budget process, unfortunately it will start soon, again for next year, really, and we'll be pretty heavy into it into more July. So we've had some conversations on still continuing to collate that information, putting it out there, and having it prepared for our elected representatives to understand that the work that's happening here through all the organizations, we're a great clearinghouse to kind of distill that information, again, as Michelle does, but I would encourage you always to reach out to your elected representatives and say, hey, these are important to us. These are the projects we're working on. And more importantly, come back to us and say, this is what's not funded. Because there's always those, right? There's always processes and work that we're doing that if it's not funded, we should be working on it. Or if we think funding is threatened, sometimes we hear that too, just keep it on. Those are the advocacy things that I think that we should all be really focused on, and I think that's great. And then we have a lot of great local, regional, and state partners on this board, and I continue to thank them for their participation. And that is advocacy versus the education. So the education part is kind of what I started out talking about, where someone came to me and said, so what is it you do? Like, what happens there? And I think we have some stuff in place already. Please share that out, but the advocacy side of it is really making sure that our elected people understand, both at the local and state level, that we're continuing to do this work, and these are the roadblocks. So continue to come to us with the projects that are unfunded, underfunded, things like that. I think there's a great opportunity for this board to advocate for those, as we will very soon be asking what are the requests for inclusion in the budget next year. Obviously, there's always a big star after that because those fundings aren't guaranteed. But the more organizations like this talk about it, the more powerful that message is. So I just encourage all of you to share out the information so the public understands what we're doing, and take in the advocacy side of it that we can really push with our elected representatives. I mean, that's what the advocacy board does. And then the board can suggest other programs, other things that are out there that we need to be in support of. I work with many of you on a regular basis, and working with the state sometimes is interesting because stuff comes up right away, and if you have plans in place, as Doug has worked with me on many, many projects, and Carrie in the planning department, there's a lot of stuff that's in place and we're ready to move on it. And sometimes it's kind of like, oh, we fit into that program with these plans. So keep making plans. I encourage you to reach out to this group and bring those questions to this group because there's a ton of resource in this room. There's just a ton of resources in this room, so I really encourage that.
And I think generally, Doug, when you're talking about it, with the public, they hear Water Quality Management Agency and probably think we're almost like a standalone agency that's addressing and attacking water quality issues when, really we do our advocacy and talk amongst ourselves to come up with solutions. So I think generally people may get confused thinking that it's another standalone thing when there's 20 of us that are working on it.
Correct.
So
Or there's a perception that maybe it's a regulatory agency, which is not what it is, right? It's not what it is at all. Yeah.
Yeah, they may just not understand what we do.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point. And that has to do with, generally one of the board focuses obviously is consistent messaging on WQMA priorities. And again, I think those are reflected very well in our newsletters. I mean, we have a mission and vision statement that's out there. I think people's eyes glaze over sometimes when you say mission and vision statement about some of these things, especially if now that we have a lot of water quality issues that are front and center. I think it's more important to show the action and just, share out newsletters and the programs that we're working, everything, from solid waste to erosion, sediment control, to all the research we're doing on our farms with how are we doing our input management and how does that affect all of our watersheds. These are all important things that we're doing. So just keep that kind of messaging, and a newsletter in your back pocket, not literally. You can just send out a link, but if you want to print one, I guess you could. And then, so are there any, Greg's always a great example. He's always bringing regional meetings and coalition opportunities to us, so I encourage you to keep bringing those forward. As you get those, please include those to Michelle. Our reports are important, but upcoming educational opportunities that we're offering are also great opportunities for us to add to that advocacy list and what's happening. So those are the things that I think of in their advocacy. Is there something out there that you all are participating in, or that maybe we're not participating in as a board that we need to? You can mention it now, you can send it to Michelle and I just want to make sure that as this evolves, and again, as it's become more top of mind and is in the media, we need to take advantage of that and make sure that hopefully we're a great clearinghouse for this information across the county. So I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but if there are, particularly with that last item, regional meetings or coalitions that we're not aware of, Adam, I know you attend a lot of this and usually report back to us, so obviously we appreciate that. But happy to lend more resources to it. So just keep those in mind. Keep sharing them, I guess is what I'm saying. I encourage everybody to keep sharing them. Any other thoughts on advocacy or where we have holes or what the public is asking you about that we're not addressing? Other than, like Doug said, the regulatory versus kind of the information that's out there. So please think about it. Please keep sharing. We can obviously change this a little bit and add to it as, we can add the advocacy notes throughout the year to kind of pull through all the networking opportunities that we have. And remember that a lot of our elected officials change over yearly, every couple of years, so we have to do a lot of education on that side, and so that advocacy is very important at that rate too. Okay? Yep.
We engaged directly with the legislature last year, presenting environmental projects and sort of our approach. There wasn't a great deal of engagement following our presentation to them. However, I think it would perhaps behoove us to continue that on an annual basis if we're able to, or scheduled to present and engage with the legislature.
I agree 100%. I agree 100% because I think that a lot of times some of our elected officials get inundated with information prior to meetings and things like that to actually highlight the projects that we funnel through or the projects that we just want to highlight that our partners are doing around the county. I think those are always really important. It's great to give narrative, and it's even better to give examples. So I agree 100%.
I think that's a good pattern too, because they've recently kind of pushed to make sure that they're getting an annual presentation on the Wasco Lake monitoring program that we do the contract for, as well as the CSI Cayuga Lake programs. So probably following that also with like, WQMA, hitting them with multiple presentations. Leading up to budget season is not a bad idea.
Yep. And for us, that would probably be May, June, July, as you're kind of leading into the actual formulation of the original draft of the budget, which usually happens toward the end of the summer, roughly speaking. So that would be a good time to do those.
Yeah, Lisa Kleckner's gonna be there this month on the Wasco Lake monitoring program from last year's program results. Grayson did her presentation here. I let them know, I shared that link with them. They were a little perturbed that she didn't come and give the presentation to them. And I said, well, unfortunately, she's super pregnant right now, so she cannot. So please go to the link and watch the presentation because it was excellent. So it's frustrating because I know last year we tried to get them to come here and they're just don't want to for whatever reason. So
I'm shocked that they were perturbed that Grayson didn't come present to them.
So we'll try to arrange those, at least those two program presentations earlier in the year. Also, it was a little bit confusing. They were like, well, why can't we have this at the end of the year? I know they pulled the buoy out in October. And I'm like, well, our contract goes through December because they need that time to gather and formulate all the data and get it all in a distilled format for you. So you are actually still getting it before budget. You're getting it in the spring, well in advance of your budget cycle for the next year. And they didn't quite agree with me on that, but that's just the way it is.
No comment.
Yeah, so that, again, keep in mind that the timing of these things, obviously our budget season and then like the data and stuff comes out so much later. I mean, obviously from a research standpoint, that's perfectly normal, but from an outreach standpoint and an education to those who would be interested in the data, the timing is, well, it's not going to change. The timing is always kind of going to be that you're going to have a delay in data that comes out. But again, our advocacy cycle is coming up, and we will reiterate that information as we get into that cycle. So any of that study information that's received from January till July, let's say, that will happen from the previous year, that would be very important for us to have as a part of the conversation and the presentation that the WQMA will put on during the budget season or prior to the budget season, if you will, for continued support going down in the future. Which the support has been there, but obviously we want to keep it there. But thank you, I appreciate it. Questions on that? Communications, outreach. Do we have any current stuff we need to add?
The newsletter went out.
I
You
love
should
it.
have gotten it.
Already sent it out to other people? Yes?
We concentrated on monitoring because that's what Grayson came and that was what we concentrated on last month. And Carrie gave me a blog, so that went out.
My first blog.
Thank you.
I cheated, it was a press release.
We'll still give you credit.
Just different title.
I distilled it down.
You did.
Oh, okay. All right. Anything else about invasive species?
I don't have anything to add to that at this time.
All right. A quick run through. So reports were submitted. Is there anybody that for the agency reports wants to add to those?
Yeah, I didn't send a report, that's my bad.
I didn't either, actually.
Not much to report on recycling stuff. So the e-waste event that happened on March 21st, we're still waiting on my final weight amounts, but we did have 311 people attend, which is pretty good for, it was like an 89% attendance rate, so it's pretty good. Other announcement that I have, this will be my last WQMA meeting, so I'm leaving the county on April 22nd. I took another job elsewhere, so it's been a pleasure.
But congratulations.
That's it.
Where are you going?
the Syracuse Metropolitan Transportation Council.
Oh, SMTC. Cool, have fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, so feel free to still send emails and requests to me, but note that I'll be at Department of Tree when he is gone. So,
I won't send you my angry messages anymore.
it's fine. I might send you some back.
You didn't respond to the last one I said, so. I'll
Another way to
gladly
phrase that
accept.
is your workload is increasing, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Well, congratulations. It's great.
Good luck, Ed.
It'll be hard to replace, but we will beg Ledge to put me.
We'll absolutely try, right? I don't have any large updates for the Parks Department. We have some big, we didn't get invited by the Northern Border Regional Commission to do a bridge replacement out at Emerson Park that we have applied for before. It is one of our main accesses to Deauville Island out within the park, so we're in the process of doing that project. And then we have several others that the friends of Emerson are involved in. So obviously if you're interested in things like Easter egg hunts, concerts, things like that, they run all of those for us out at Emerson Park. So I hope you have the opportunity to go and support them if you feel so inclined. Planning Department?
I submitted a written report.
I love it, thank you. Be quiet. Anybody else on the list for agency reports that wants to add anything to them?
Just that there's a lot of rain from earlier in the week, and we've been out and about getting a lot of calls, especially in the southern end of the county primarily. Not so many calls coming from the north, but we try to get as many feet and boots on the ground as possible to go check out, anything from fire lanes blowing out to near misses on bridges, of almost cresting over them. Just about everything you can think of. We've spent a lot of time the last several days just out in the field assessing things and monitoring previously existing conditions, and just a lot of rain hit. I know Greg and I were talking about it beforehand when I got scolded to start the meeting, and there was just kidding. Just kidding. No, and it reports are anywhere from 3.5 inches, maybe 4 inches down to an inch and a half. So I mean that's how variable this stuff is nowadays, and if it hits the right spot at the wrong time, you have more issues, even though it didn't seem like a lot. It's just maybe some snow still up in Summer Hill and the deep forests there where not a lot of sunlight goes, and it's been cold enough, that could just finally be either melting or frozen ground is, causing a lot more runoff, so.
Town of Venice put snowplows back on and plowed off mud and trees, and
Yeah.
so it's bad.
There was a pretty extensive list as of yesterday morning that the county highway was responding to also, obviously, throughout the county. Not as many, like you said, up north, but quite a few from Auburn south, so.
And then winds are gonna come today or tomorrow,
Yeah.
tomorrow when we're getting 30, 40 mile an hour wind gusts on super saturated ground, may not be the best either, but,
Speaking of that, Greg, how did your new manure lagoon fare? Did you guys get inundated with water? The covered one?
Yeah, it's pretty cool having covers on them.
Yeah,
When you just pump the water off.
nice.
It's,
Yeah, so then you didn't get all
Really
that.
cool.
from-
yep. Yeah, we added up, this morning, still have a couple uncovered. One of them, I added, I think it was 100 and some thousand gallons, and the other one was 300,000 gallons of just rainwater that goes in.
Right.
But with the others that are covered,
You can pump it off.
totally no extra rainfall, so it's really cool. So big shout out to these guys for doing those programs. It's just mind-boggling, actually.
and the good news, some of you guys may have seen it on the news, CRF funding, we got 5 projects funded aligned with that, similar projects to what Greg was just talking about, covers, flares, keep that rainwater, keep the clean water clean, keep it separated out, gives these guys more storage, because they're not gonna be able to get on the ground now, it's all saturated, so I need another week of time, worth of storage, so, total project amount, that was, like I say, that was just announced. Today, we got about $5 million worth of state money, and landowner match is about $4 million, so it's another $9 million worth of projects that are gonna be coming to Cayuga County to help farms out.
Question on projects, what area that flooded down in the village?
Did they get flooded out again in the village?
Is that-
I didn't hear any reports of that like it used to be. We did we did a lot of work down there. a lot of stuff moves when it rains this hard. Gravel, trees, debris,
Yeah.
miscellaneous, everything else. There was tarps that were up in the woods that you didn't know that then washed down through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't see whether or not the downtown flooded again.
Didn't hear any report of it either. Okay.
I just heard Wasco Lake, Michelle had the camera up, that the lake was above flood stage. Is that not true?
I heard there was a road collapse on Route 90.
Yeah.
A little bit of a shoulder kind of dicked out a little bit. We were there.
Between Lavana and Gully?
When we got a call, yeah, just north of Mackenzie.
Does nothing.
Yeah, it didn't
They've
look
had
like
sandbags there for the last year and a half.
Oh,
the culvert. Looks like it is an open ditch, just a culvert.
okay. I get those automatic New York alerts for like closures and stuff, but until I start seeing in the news or on Facebook like photos of it, I kind of don't really like believe them.
Yeah.
What about the tornado in Ovid? Was that really a tornado?
So, I don't know the date of that video because the tornado warnings and everything were south of me, and I'm in Lodi, which is south of Ovid. But I did see that video on Facebook. But there are no reports from anyone I know of a tornado actually hitting on the east side of Seneca Lake. It did on the west side first.
There was a tornado on the
Yeah.
west side?
Yeah, I saw that this morning.
Yeah, but not on the east side. So it was, the warning area was Watkins Glen, Enfield, Hector, Newfields, and all that. And there was nothing that came through there. So I think it fizzled out before it got to Watkins Glen.
That video was pretty crazy though. The
Yep.
one from the car.
Yeah,
I thought that was a person on the east looking west.
I have no idea. I saw the video too, but I couldn't see like a date or
Yeah.
like when it was actually done. But
People are so weird if you post a video from, like, why?
Yeah.
Why
2
would
years
you
ago.
post like a fake video, like to get internet clout for 15 minutes? Like what the?
I mean, it did pop in my feed yesterday. It's April Fool's Day, but that's a terrible April Fool's joke.
Oh,
If it
this
was,
I saw a video like 2 days ago before
Oh, yeah.
yesterday, so.
no tornado.
Yeah,
It would have been all over the news,
Yeah.
right?
all over.
Yeah, and it was huge looking.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, people are so weird, social media is, don't post your kids on the internet, people, okay?
You had a comment, sorry. Michelle, what was
Do you want me
it?
to- So Emily wrote, "Hi, all related to flooding, stormwater. I thought the group might be interested in tracking the flooding and other concerns using the New York Sea Grant My Coast app." And I think the Cayuga Lake Watershed Network linked that on their Facebook page.
Great, thank you, Emily. Any other adds to the agency reports?
Can I?
All right.
Oh,
Yeah,
can I mention a plug for the upcoming Great Lakes Action Agenda Southeast Lake Ontario Subbasin Work Group meeting? That's going to be held at the Cayuga Nature Center as the Cayuga Lake Watershed Steward Coordinator, Sarah Engel, is hosting us there, and I think it will be kind of a good opportunity for folks in Cayuga County to connect across the Cayuga Lake watershed as well as the Great Lakes, kind of consider how that fits into the bigger picture of the Great Lakes Basin, and we hope to have some exciting updates and resources to share, for partners as well. So I would welcome anyone interested in joining us. I know Michelle shared the listserv that we typically send out with everyone, but I think sometimes hearing a verbal update helps. So just to remind, that's on 5/4, and the meeting is from 1 to 3, and we really hope to keep this focused on good discussions and updates from folks. And then we have an optional tour of the Nature Center from 3 to 4, which I think will be a good, interesting tour from the someone from the Paleontological Research Institute agreed to offer the tour. It's kind of an interesting place. Could use some TLC, so that I thought it was a good place to kind of bring people to. And there used to be some wild animal exhibits there that aren't there anymore. but there's some nice trails and features there that I thought would be a nice place for folks to check out. It's kind of rustic. It reminds me of my days working at a nature center, and living there. So it made me feel kind of nostalgic too.
Great, thanks. Appreciate it. Anyone else before we go on to the Lake Association reports?
My grandkids like the tree house.
Oh, yeah. I love it. Cayuga Lake, anybody here?
Ann's online.
Where are you? Hey,
Ann's our new rep.
oh, great. Welcome, Ann.
Thank you. I wanted to add, I guess you didn't see my hand raised, that Aurora and Locke and Moravia contacted Riley Shirtliff at Emergency Management about declaring a state of emergency for the flooding that we had the other night. We had roads washed out. Our sewer plant was flooded. Luckily, it didn't get to the point where it shut it down, but it came pretty close. Water plant was also being monitored all night long. The fire department was out, the firehouse flooded. Locke had to do an evacuation. So it was a pretty significant event. And I'm very surprised there wasn't anything in the Citizen about it.
Yeah. I haven't reached out to Riley very much because I knew that they were busy, but I know that they had some calls and they had some activity in the southern end of the county. I've been trying to leave them alone. They've been.
Yeah, he was here for a long
busy,
time
but-
yesterday, just kind of, checking on
Yeah.
everything. And, it was mainly Union Springs, us, Moravia, and Locke.
Okay, good. Thank you for the update. Appreciate
Yep.
it. Cross Lake, Seneca River.
Nope.
Nope. Duck Lake.
Nope.
Lake Como.
They call it Cayuga Lake. We're a little flooded. My yard's about half underwater.
Yeah.
But my basement is dry. That's the main thing.
Oh, hey.
I hope to get my final petition finished this month and start gathering signatures for establishing a special tax district for the lake. They're talking to more and more people. I'm getting worried that I'm not going to be able to get enough signatures, but I'm going to work on it. And hopefully able to get enough signatures to push this through the town. So hopefully I have that, but my goal is to have it done before June, get it all the signatures wrapped up. So I can get it to the board, to the town in time to get it, start planning on for next year's budget.
Okay. Great, thank you. Little Sodas Bay? No. Okay. Wasco Lake report?
Nothing special new. We're still just thinking about lake-friendly living program to have and before May. Trying to see about venues, maybe doing having people do lake-friendly eating with trying to eat whether it's local produce or local foods, and especially if encourage organic farmers or no-till agriculture helps out the lake.
Okay. Great, thank you. Skaneateles Lake report.
Yeah, good morning. We held our lake ecology team meeting yesterday. About 22 people come for that. We're looking at trying to do some advancements to our milfoil control program. We have a new boat. We're doing some new equipment on there and some new matting. We're looking at some watershed development programs in the watershed. We're getting ready to boat launch stewards start usually the weekend prior to Memorial Day. They're getting ready. We're scheduling the spring hemlock treatment and planning for lake-friendly living awareness month in May. And we got flooded out on Glenhaven, down the south end of the lake, down by, Scott Park, where the Grout Brook comes in there, and that was underwater. So, the south end. But that's all we got. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. We still have a little bit of time. Any partner reports out there? Aaron's on?
He gave me one, though.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah,
additional?
Nothing additional. No, we got that meeting next Wednesday to talk about the Wasco watershed streams map. I'm looking forward to that. I think we're making progress. So the more we meet, the more it comes into focus.
Okay, thank you.
I've got something.
Yeah.
Last week, I think it was, they had graduation for Poop School. It's a collaboration between Cornell University and Cayuga Milk.
That's great.
It was awesome. Right about 12 farms and 45 farm employees went to there were 4 classes, 4 or 5 hours each. Just a huge shout out to Jason Oliver and Kirsten Workman from Pro Dairy. Just did a phenomenal job. The guys came back. We had 4 guys that attended. The guys came back all excited, learned about cable permits, setbacks, injection, you name it, accurate manure sampling. They were just so excited. It's long overdue. So a huge shout out to those guys. And that just helps everybody, right? Not just the farms, it helps everybody. The recent rainfall, big shout out to Soil and Water for years and years of pounding into our heads about BMPs, sod waterways, cover crops, buffers. You drive around and very, very minimal damage to the farm fields. Road ditches and creeks are a totally different story. A lot of roads washed out around us, but it's just shocking at the minimal damage that we had. Just amazing. Some of the creeks and ditches, roadside ditches, scoured out another foot to 2 deeper. It's just pushed all that soil somewhere piled up. I know a lot of it ended up in the lake, but there's going to be some huge sandbars. But overall, the farms did extremely well. And the only other thing upcoming, mainly through Cayuga Milk, every year we do a carbon footprint and mass nutrient balance with Cornell University. So those are due on April 15th. So mass nutrient balance, all nutrients that come into the farm, all nutrients that leave the farm, crops grown, milk, beef sales, just takes everything into account. And so you can keep track of that. And it's a very good program that's been going on for 4 or 5 years now, I believe. And also carbon footprint, just because water quality is extremely important, but the entire life cycle, carbon and water go hand in hand, but you get into air emissions with that as well. So,
is that through Cayuga Milk? I'm sorry, you said?
Yes.
And is that by farm, by county, by region? What?
Each individual farm.
Right, okay.
Yeah, most of the Cayuga farms are in Cayuga County.
Yeah.
And then there's a few scattered around in other places, but they're mainly right here in our backyard.
Mm-hmm. And do they aggregate the data by the county at any point, or is it all individual?
No, it's all individual. Okay. The milk plant uses it, but it's not published anywhere.
Interesting. Okay.
But if it was, it'd put a smile on everybody's face.
Yeah, I just think, I wonder whether that aggregated data would be something that would be of interest.
I can ask. Carbon footprinting, I don't know how much I'm supposed to say or not supposed to say, but we're amongst the lowest in the world for the carbon footprint and of milk anywhere in the world. Mm-hmm. And then mass nutrient balance, we're extremely good as a group as well.
Interesting. Great.
Yeah, that'd be interesting even just to like have that quick little blurb at a WQA presentation to the ledge, just, remind them farmers are our friends. Okay?
Yeah.
I have a funny question. As
I'll give
part
you a
of-
funny answer.
As part of poop school, upon graduation, did they get cow patty no bakes to take home?
I did ask if they got little poop emojis. No.
No, like the no bake cow patties.
Oh.
You know, the no bake chocolate oatmeal patty.
No.
So next time they're on the poop school, that is what they should get upon graduation.
I thought they'd get a little poop emoji.
I mean, that would be funny too. You get a little stress poop emoji, that'd be funny too, but.
Do both of those. That's great.
I need a mid-morning snack, that's my drink.
Adam, I'm gonna leave you till last. Is there anybody else online that we missed? No? Yeah.
If you're wondering why there was yet another distribution of the agency and partner reports today, yes, that was me. So that, my report is included in what was distributed to the group. So, nothing more from me.
Good. Anybody else in the room that I've skipped? Anybody? Going once? Going twice?
I was gonna say really quickly.
Yes.
This would be cool if it could be turned into a calendar next year.
That's a good idea.
Okay, we'll look at
Because
it.
Jesse's really into the landscape situation.
I mean, I'm just
For
saying,
designing?
it would be cool to have some of like the photos and stuff, like make it into a calendar. Because then people would put it up.
They would use it. I like it.
We used to
I
do
got
it.
excited, honestly, when you gave it to me, I thought it was a calendar.
Yeah, I thought it was one too.
And I looked at it and I was like, oh, it's not. Oh, but it's so cool.
That's a good idea, I like that.
We used to get invasive species ones through FLOPA
Oh,
And also her calendar, like
Oh, I
one
know.
side of the page is
a long time ago,
the
I haven't seen it
information.
recently.
15 years maybe.
All right. You can tack it to the wall. Like it.
Yeah, because when you flip it up, you can have like a blurb in some of the photos and this can be the calendar and then you
Right,
can just
right.
keep going, you know.
All right. Well,
If
look
there's
at
ever a really light year where there's not much to report,
That's
you
right.
can definitely do that.
Just recycle some photos from your, people won't know.
That's great. Anything else for the group? Thank you. I appreciate everybody's time.
Motion to adjourn then.
Thank you, Doug.
Okay, yeah.
I'll second
I was gonna say Evan needs to
Second, thank
second it so he gets some
Always
minutes.
rely on Doug for that.
That's right.
That's great.
Follow parliamentary procedure here.
We're very tight on that. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody online. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle, am I